You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 23rd, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Historic Preservation Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Yep. We'll call the meeting to order, and we could have a roll call, please.
Troy Stahl,
Present.
Dan Cronquist is not here, Greg Coulter, and then Amy, Dwayne Hurt, Gigi,
I'm here.
Roger is not here, Lawrence is here, no Jonah Zimmerman. Okay.
Okay. Can I have, did everybody get a chance to read their minutes? Can I have a motion to approve our agenda?
So I also wanted to throw on the agenda the minutes from last time, because we didn't skip right past them.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
Oh, they were fine.
thank you. Someone have to make that motion though.
Okay,
But so I'll make a motion to add that to the agenda. Okay.
okay, thank you. All right, I have a motion to accept the agenda for tonight.
I'll make a motion.
All right, thank
I
you.
second.
Okay, and the minutes, can I have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, any correspondence, Mr. Okay.
No.
Okay, then we'll go on to our C of A.
Okay. I mean, the way we have the schedule now is the the
Yeah.
COAs and then maintenance reviews are after. Okay.
Yeah, we changed that.
You guys did.
Okay. There's not one person here. Let's get to the right stack of paper here. So the first one we've got is 2023-087 for Spring Street. 723 Spring Street. It's a contributing rated property. Gable front circa 1890. The project is to repair and replace stairs, paint the house to the original color, which is light blue, and Kyle got that. It's been copied through very well, so if you want to take a look at that. We did make a site visit, and I'll show you some pictures of the foundation, because we're assuming that he's looking at that as well. And there's some serious deterioration there that needs to be addressed.
Looks like it.
So the finding of fact, the stairs are not original and are deteriorated beyond repair. And these are stairs on the back and the side back, not the stairs on the front. The proposed replacements are the rear and rear side facades of the house. They will be wood, the same size and location and design. We provided that as well. You should have that. Painting will match the existing light blue. Trim will be white. The brick foundation needs repair and repointing, and the brick foundation should not be painted. So the recommended motion is approval as submitted with the condition that foundation repairs and materials are approved by staff. So let me zip through some of these pictures because there's more than what I wanted to include. So that's the north side of the house. And you can see that's pretty rough. That's one of the stairs. Obviously, stairs are gone, but
What's left of them?
yeah,
Wood.
that's in the back. And there was a tree growing into those stairs and actually bent it over, and he had just cut that. You can see the wood shavings there in that picture. So there's a straight on picture of the side. There's the back again. The stump.
Freshy,
going right
freshy,
into
fresh.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a mess. So he's cleared a lot of vegetation away. But there you can see some of the issues with the foundation.
Looks like the foundation was painted.
It was, and so I don't know if he's considering, I don't know that we know
I
that.
don't know. We
But
don't.
I think we should specify that don't make matters worse
Right.
by repainting, and it really needs repair. Like there's the corner, you can see it's just a,
All the way up.
yeah. It's a mess.
But you can paint foundation, I mean brick, as long as you paint it in a breathable.
In breathable,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
something
if you
that's
look at that-
breathable.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, clearly it needs repair, but if he doesn't repair it, and maybe he doesn't have the funds to do it, he might want to know. Painting it.
Okay, so that's the end of that one.
Well, if he does repair it, what are the chances that the new brick is gonna match the old brick?
Yeah,
So
right.
that's the problem, so
Hard to
that's probably
say.
why he'll end up wanting to paint it again.
Depends on how, I don't think any of them were completely missing, but you know, if it's less than half, you can always chisel it out, turn it around and put it back in, fill that back in with mortar, so it matches.
Okay,
So that would be a good way to do that. I didn't see too many that were totally gone, I don't think, but he definitely needs someone that knows what they're doing or some training probably to accomplish that.
and what about removing all the rest of the existing paint then? What do they do in that case?
They could scrub some of it off with a brush. I'm sure it was really flaking,
Okay.
you know, if they would do that.
All right. So that's our preference, is just to have it look like it's been scraped off and just leave it like
It's
that?
better than painting, I think, unless, again, like you said, if it's breathable, but we'd have to know that.
Okay.
Any other question?
I have one other question, that the drawing right there, I don't know if you've got it, shows the stair, but it doesn't show any details about what the railing or the handrail and post or the pickets would look like. And I would think we want them to be,
Like they were?
well, we don't know what they were.
Well,
Well, we do want,
we do on the others, you can see it. And they probably, I'm assuming they all matched at one time.
looks,
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
it's a very basic, modern type of stair rail.
Well, I guess since it's not the
In the
front
front, right.
stair, we
Yeah.
can't say too much.
In the back, I don't care at all. And the side one, honestly, is so far back, you wouldn't see much.
It is surprising that he's concerned about the paint, because there's so much of others' work on that.
I think the paint is just the beginning, because the inspection department has been working with him to try to get it up to code. So I think
Yeah.
this is just the beginning of a
Look at all
process.
the doors and the lintels, they look good care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't even know if I'd want that door on the side.
Oh, the side door, no. The bottom third of that's rotted away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
He definitely needs to replace doors, but that was not part of
Oh,
this,
nice
you know,
one.
and so this is just paint and those side and back stairs.
Are people living
Not at this moment.
there? Oh, thank God.
Oh, like he said, there's too many other issues,
Yeah.
probably on the inside that,
Yeah, we have no idea what the inside thing is.
oh, you haven't even,
Just the outside.
okay.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion to approve as what Deb just reported?
I move to approve.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, let's go to 120 West Ninth Street. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, aye.
Right.
Opposed, same. Thank you. And we're going to the dentist office. It became a beauty shop, and now it's going to be something else.
Okay, this is for 120 West 9th Street, the gable front, contributing rating 1875 is the year of construction. Proposed project is to paint the house Valspar 5006-4C tree line green
Nice.
with white trim. So, finding in fact, the brick walls have previously been painted. The proposed wall color closely matches the color from the approved color palette, which is Sherwin-Williams Rockwood dark green. Very, very similar. So,
That'll be nice.
I think that's not bad. trim will be in a contrasting color. Now, we talked about that on the phone, and he did not have a specific color. I told him it needed to be something pretty neutral. He suggested black, I suggested not. So then we went to white. He left it at white. I honestly think ivory would, some shade of a cream ivory would be better with this, so I think that would be a good part of the recommendation. I mean, white's not the worst thing in the world, but it would be a pretty stark contrast to that. And he is going to paint over the mural. He wanted to be sure everyone knew the mural is leaving, so.
The Water's Life mural?
Water's Life, so
Yes.
it's no longer promoting that.
Recommendation is approval
Holding
as
anymore,
submitted.
so.
And do you have images of that?
Of the mural? Oh, of the house, yes, I do. Goodness, I went through a few. There's the front of the house. And now it's light blue around all the windows and then purple other places. So I had thought about going back and saying, well, you could paint the window trim in a very dark color if you used another color. I mean, the window itself, the window frame. But then it occurred to me that some of them are replacement windows and you couldn't do that. So I think going with a light color that pretty much goes with that white.
So the house itself is to be painted the dark?
Yes,
Green.
yes. The house itself will be the dark green and then
How do we know if that paint is breathable?
we don't.
Okay.
We don't.
And that might be worth saying to just make it. And there are paints that are made for being used on brick for that reason. So, it's
So
just
would you-
listen.
But you still could do because I think it goes all the way down. I don't remember before they even painted it that there was like a foundation that was a different color, but maybe there was.
No, I don't know. Pictures.
I think it's just like a water table. Or,
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
I have a motion to approve this.
A second?
I'll second that motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. All right. Everyone has the chance to look over the maintenance. Is there any questions that you have for anyone?
The one at 424 East 10th Street where they're replacing the stair, would that have to be done to code so that it would have risers
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
and a handrail probably on both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, as well as it's hard to tell, but that the reason why the staircase it was in the maintenance was because it's on the back, as opposed to anything that would be even visible from the alley. I mean, like
Right.
even when I was driving along through the alley, it was hard to even see where the staircase was. So it was very much out of the public right away.
It looks like it goes right past a window.
It's
Yeah.
very possible.
Deal with it.
It's probably been that way for years.
Oh, yes, imagine
That
that.
way, huh?
Yeah, that's what we think.
Anyone else have any other questions or comments?
No.
All right. We will move on to committee reports, which I don't think we have, I have not heard. And then old business. Okay, under new business, we talked about the preservation plan.
We did, and we decided probably wasn't worth coming an hour early since we didn't have a lot on the agenda. So I talked to Kurt about, whether he's done other preservation plans for other towns of similar size that he could share, and he said he's done very specific things for other towns that worked well for those towns, but the most general one that he's proposed was the one for Logansport. So he said, why don't you share that with them? So this is what he was going to do for them. Now I don't know, there's probably less than 20,000 people in Logansport. I'm sorry. So I'm going to put some up on. But this is kind of what he proposed, and he was breaking it up into 3 phases. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. I mean, a preservation plan, you know, you're going to want to get a lot of public input for this. And so there's going to have to be a number of public meetings.
You got one?
Yeah.
And it would be good if you guys are there. So this is a commitment for you guys as well as for Kurt. I mean, he'll be doing a lot of writing and surveying and all that sort of thing. But we want to really identify what's important to the people in Michigan City and what you guys need to do to preserve those things. So whatever that looks like. I mean, you've already got some historic districts, so maybe you're looking at more local historic districts, maybe you're looking at conservation districts. Maybe there's some special buildings that you really want to preserve no matter what, even if they're in a historic district. He was sending me some information last week on, what was that church?
It's like the Christian Science, the old Christian.
The old Christian Science Church. It's a Greek Revival building. I want to say it's on 7th Street.
I think so.
Maybe.
It's the Seventh Day Advocates.
Now it's Seventh Day Adventist. It was a house way back when. Somebody from Michigan had contacted him recently and was doing some research on an early person who sold a lot of land in this area. And they got to tracing it back, and the feeling was it's recorded as being built around 1850s-ish. They've got some evidence. They think they can trace it back to 1834,
Oh my God.
Oh,
which would make that like possibly the oldest building in the town.
That's why he said that, because he was,
So
I caught him talking about that.
that was the one he said. He had
Yeah, I
one
was
that
like
had his
trying
eye
to figure
on.
out what
Yes.
which one he was talking about. Okay.
So he's like, you know, that's one you definitely want to keep an eye on, even though it's in a local historic district. He said if that's truly the case, that maybe should be National Register material on its own because it's really, really significant.
Cool.
So, you know, that kind of thing. Doing some National Register nominations if there's special things here or there. And, you know, looking at things that are sometimes overlooked or underrepresented. It's not always the Barker mansions. There were lots of common people that helped build the town that are very important. And so looking at some of those structures as well. And then trying to be sure that we reach everybody as much as we can. So, and that's always tricky. Doing some things that are engaging to get people to come out and chat with everybody, get their feedback. I think those are going to be important portions of it. So that's probably where a lot of the time is spent, is in trying to engage the public. And then once we've got all that figured out, you know, what's important to the people, what's important to you, and what are the steps, he'll create that document of what those steps are to get to that and put it in a plan like, okay, these are some manageable chunks. We can do this in the next 3 years. We could do this in 5 years or whatever.
But Skylar was on the radio today and he was talking a lot about the Eastport neighborhood and what people are inquiring about, how a lot of the buildings are being changed or set idle for a long time. So even meeting with Skylar and going over some of those things. And then he also talked about going from Barker Ave south on Franklin Street. So there's a lot of things in discussion with people being curious about what's going to happen there. What if I do? What am I going to get out of it? So, yeah, that's going to be something we're going to have to make a list of what we want to start with for sure, and then go from there, I guess. Because just looking at this, it's a lot.
It is a lot, it really is. So I guess you need to think about, is this something you want to do, even one phase of it? Is it not for right now?
Well, I think we've been talking about it. I think we need to do something because we took a walk
Yes.
and we haven't done anything with that.
Yeah.
And everyone who took that walk is gone. But
You're right. The two of us are still here, and
Yeah.
that's it.
And that was very interesting. We just did 8th Street. And it was very interesting what
Mhm.
Can we take a walk or no? Can we?
We
Yeah,
should.
We should.
We should do that. Preferably
Well,
not when
if
it's
we were to do phase one of the parts about it is getting community input,
Mhm.
which suggests getting people from the community together and informing them. And we always have a problem because we don't have money to put out, I don't know, a mailer or advertisements or whatever. How do we get over those hurdles? Because you've got to get other people interested and involved.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Well, hopefully, we're supposed to have a teeny tiny budget coming in the future.
Oh, is that right? Is it
So-
approved?
almost.
Almost.
Oh, okay.
So in January, when the budget is finally, I think, pushed through, and then we should have a little bit of money.
Kyle will be at that meeting fighting.
Yeah.
You better be
okay,
Kyle.
okay.
A little bit.
Fight hard. Get as much money as you can.
Yeah, a little
So
bit.
that could help pay for mailing, definitely.
Yeah.
As far as the cost of this, I think it would be well worth applying for a historic preservation education grant, because I feel this would be a good fit for that, and that would pay for a portion of it, at least. Because that's always something where you're educating the public, engaging the public. This qualifies, I'm pretty sure. So I think that would be a good source. I don't know, the Barker Foundation grants, would that go towards
They do
this?
some things. I don't know if they would.
If we needed to match, they'd probably be the right people to talk
That's
to.
what I was wondering, because we would need a match. It's a 50-50, not necessarily dollars, it could be, time as well.
Okay.
Do you have
So-
a copy of this grant?
Not all.
You did?
yeah.
I can get one, yes. That, I think, has to be filed by February, where there's 2 grant cycles, and the last one just closed, but I think the next one's by the end of February, and then I think you would have to start implementing whatever you proposed in May or June, I think.
It has to be a certain time period, that's what it says.
Yeah, but I'll look at that.
The thing that I was just thinking when she's talking, as hard as it was when we took that walk, it was fairly nice weather out, and then it rained that night. And so 3 of us had umbrellas. But I'm thinking because of the cold weather coming, and people don't like to go out, people that we want to come don't like to go out after dark, especially in bad weather. So I'm thinking we need to do something when we know it's going to get a little lighter, and hopefully the weather wouldn't be as bad, because all I keep hearing is all these signs that are saying we're going to get a lot of snow this year. So we don't want to schedule something and then have to cancel it because of snow, because it takes a lot to get the information out and then get people to attend. The other thing I'm thinking, where would be the best place to hold a meeting like that? Would it be City Hall in that one room, or?
Probably having different locations, because the
Yeah.
goal would be to target different
Right.
groups,
Right.
so maybe having a meeting in Eastport, or on the west side, that having different different groups, probably areas where we want to, maybe put our energy into, that we feel like there might be, historic buildings, those might be areas that we might want to have meeting.
Because Elston
Yes.
Grove meets every month,
Mhm.
correct? Yeah. And I don't know about Eastport, if they meet every month.
So Elston Grove switched to every 2 months.
Every 2 months?
Yeah, so
Okay.
they've got one coming up end of November, I think.
Okay,
And then Eastport is 3rd Monday of every month.
every month.
And they actually have meetings already in those communities?
Yes,
Yeah.
they have for years,
Really? About,
whatever.
Community association things,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eastport is what, did you tell me now?
It's 3rd Monday of each month.
And where is it?
Eastport? I'm not familiar with that.
So Eastport goes from,
You know where the police station is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
Chicken
Eastport
Boulevard.
area.
yeah,
Oh.
the
Michigan
police station used
Boulevard.
to be the school. So
Yeah.
then basically Eastport is where the kids went to school.
Mhm.
Springland.
Goes over to
Yeah,
Springland.
Springland
Boulevard,
south to
Springland,
Yeah.
and Carroll probably,
Carroll.
Isn't it-
Yeah.
is it
And then
Carroll
does it
or
go down to no?
maybe school. I'm not sure.
No,
No,
it goes
no,
past
it
the
goes
boulevard,
further.
and that's where my mind goes blank. Because I'm describing something else when I'm usually describing this.
No, when I say school, I mean school streets.
Yeah. So that's still
Greenwood.
perpendicular.
It's 2 blocks down from the
Isn't it?
police
Yeah.
station.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because Carroll, parallel would be school in Carroll. But I'm not sure if School Street is it or not, but I'm thinking that's
I think it was Vale. but
Vale. Okay,
I might
that
be
It
sounds
goes over to
good.
Vale, yeah.
That's
Vale.
what I-
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I can't figure out the south boundary, but it's that
Yeah,
side.
generally get
Yeah.
that good, yeah.
South
we can-
boundary
We can
Yeah.
would
find
be the
out.
boulevard.
It goes south of the boulevard.
Yeah, it goes south.
It does?
I want to say
Yeah.
it goes down
Eastport?
to Barker.
Hmm.
Maybe.
I think it goes down Hendricks,
Wow. Okay.
or no, Cleveland. It goes down Cleveland, right by the police station, and I think down to Barker. Well, we can find that out. But my thought is then if Eastport is meeting monthly, that would be where we'd want to target first. And I will find out where they meet and what time and let us know at the next meeting. Because I don't know if we'd want to meet, I don't know how their attendance is. Have you gone to any of the Eastport meetings?
Yeah, I don't miss them.
Is there a big attendance or
Yeah, there's a good 20 people.
where do they hold it at?
The fire station on,
The Boulevard?
yeah.
The old
approximately.
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, community, I think they call that the community side. Okay. What time is it, like evening or,
6 o'clock?
okay. I'll find out for sure and then if we want to attend a meeting or whoever wants to attend a meeting, we could go to one and then prepare what we think we want to propose to them. But since they meet monthly, I think and that's just what Skylar was saying on the radio today, that the Boulevard is really getting a lot of attention right now.
Yeah, they're expanding the, right, we were just.
So,
But isn't that the going to the public part of phase 2?
well, I'm just thinking we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking if we go there and tell them what we've got in mind, it's not saying we have to start doing it, but at least we'd have our foot in the door. And maybe we can change a little bit of what he's asking phase 1 to be.
Well, and he could do whatever.
Yeah,
This
this
was
is
just
just a
what he did in
suggestion.
Logansport.
Right,
So, you
right.
know, and listening to presentations on other cities and their preservation plans, some of them get really creative in their outreach because it's hard to get, especially the underrepresented people are never the ones that show up, you know.
The ones that you wish.
You wish they would. And so people have done stuff like they've had a little neighborhood event where they gave out ice cream and had balloons and got people to come in that way. Or they would, stuff like that where they just were reaching out to people all over the place. So instead of having the people come to you, you go to the people. So that seemed to be effective in a lot of areas. Just something to think about.
Well, I don't want to talk you into something that you don't feel comfortable with either, but I just thought that would be a way of helping Kurt.
Identify some of that, some of what people are interested in.
Well,
So,
we've talked about it so long, I think we need to.
And maybe part of that might be with when we go out, to those communities that we're asking what resources are important to you guys, not necessarily what we've identified, but what
Right.
have you identified in your communities? Because that's really what I think the preservation plan is more important.
And I think right now, because of the election, number one, more people are voicing their opinion on what they feel needs to happen in their areas. And maybe that's just me, but I'm trying to be positive, but
I think we need to be prepared though with talk points,
Mhm.
because I think we're gonna get pushback.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
everybody's gonna be on board.
Oh, of course not.
So, yeah, we should probably practice that or review it, like what are the main goals that we are looking for, and then listen to the feedback and
Would that be something you would be willing to work on, Larry?
the talk points.
Mhm.
Yeah, we kind of already have it, don't we?
Well, yeah, we do kind of, but just so that everybody, can we get those printed off or?
Which talk points
Well,
in particular?
We talked, I forget how many months back.
Like, what are the advantages of having a historic preservation
Yeah.
district?
Yeah.
What does it do for the community? What does it do for the individual households?
Mhm.
Why do we want it?
I think we've got a handout like
I
that.
think we do,
actually.
yeah.
Well, could that be one of your jobs to search in the office? And then if you just email it to me, I'll email it out. But
I can,
Larry's right, we have to start.
because we have a,
And it's the
24
idea,
reasons.
if a community like that made the decision that they wanted to be an historic district, and then they recognize what the qualities are of the homes in that neighborhood, that they would come up with also what they want to preserve about it.
Right.
So that it wouldn't necessarily follow the guidelines we have now,
No,
or the restrictions, but just
right.
to try and encourage people
To talk. Well, that's like Larry said.
renovate it
Yeah,
and build
yeah.
along certain lines.
Mhm.
And it might even just be determining local landmarks, maybe not even necessarily districts, but just certain places, yeah, individual ones.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I can send you those 2 documents I've got tomorrow, Kyle.
For doing that.
Because we've got one, Indiana Landmarks prepared one about why it's important to have local designation, and then there's another one that I think is a Donovan Ripkeman thing about 24 reasons why historic districts are important, why preservation is important, something to that effect. So those are just full of great information.
Is that some of that, should we have it printed out on a handout that we could give to the
Absolutely,
people?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
After we all get it and look it over, I would think then we'd want to say, do we want to print it exactly like it is? Or do we want to do just certain highlights
Yeah.
to start?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But everybody would have a chance then to look it over and see
Right.
what we want to do with that.
Yeah, because the 24 reasons document is a little bit long,
Yeah.
but the Indiana Landmarks one is just, I think you might be able to print it front and back. I think it's pretty brief,
Okay.
but it's some good talking points. So yeah, I can send that to you to share.
And is that something they could print out at the?
Is the Historic Preservation Education Grant, does that come from Indiana Landmarks?
It's us in Indiana Humanities, actually. I did pull it up. The next application deadline is February 28th. And that would, if it's the same as last year, they haven't updated the website yet, but last year that was up to $3,000 from that one. So you could do like, I don't know what these cost, but you could do a phase or 2, I don't know. We'd have to get a price from him. They let you know a month after the application deadline, and then the project could begin April 15th, and it would need to be completed within a year. So another reason to take it little chunks at a time. But I think it would be worth pursuing if you're interested in engaging Kurt too, or if you at least do you want him to put together a proposal, put some dollars to this to
I
see?
think so, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
We can have him do that. Do you like the 3-phase sort of approach, or do you want it even more than that, or less than that, or?
The simpler the better, I would think.
Okay.
3's probably right.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do too much more.
Okay. Why don't I have him come up with that, and then we can talk about that more at the next meeting. And in the meantime, I'll get those documents to you and out to y'all. So, okay. Any other thoughts or
Thank you.
questions, or we have a good path forward on that? Okay.
Well, and then the next one on updating, I think we've kind of talked about that right now too, so we'll just keep moving forward. And certified local government.
I haven't made much progress.
Kyle.
But I've done,
You know why? He's shopping all the time.
Busy.
That's right. Kyle and I have a routine on Saturdays. We meet at the grocery store.
At Walmart and
All these, you name it.
all these, yeah. That's
It's
funny.
pretty boring, but
Yeah.
anyway.
What is that about? I'm not familiar with it.
certified local government is something that the National Park Service has given that designation out. It comes through the state of Indiana. And then if you become a certified local government, then you have opportunity for more grants, particularly the historic preservation grant that comes around yearly. The National Park Service designates so much money every year that goes especially to towns that are certified local governments, and it's more than you would get if you weren't one. And they make sure that money actually gets spent in those towns, so if people don't apply for that and get it, they actually, I've seen them do this in the past, they'll send out another round and say, we didn't spend all the money that's allocated. Is there anyone in your town that has a project? So it's a great advantage to anybody that's looking for some grant money. They are competitive grants, so generally they get snapped up quickly, but not always. You guys would have to review any National Register nominations that came along, or any Section 106 where a federally funded project is going near a historic property within the city limits. You would need to review those. Otherwise, you're doing pretty much everything that it said. I contacted the state to get the information, to get the latest forms, and they were excited. They said once upon a time Michigan City was almost ready to do this, and then they never followed through, so they would love to see it happen. Another advantage too is you get 2 scholarships to State Preservation Conference every year. And then also the National Alliance of Historic Preservation Commissions that puts out webinars. Sometimes I send you notices about that. You all get free membership in that, and by that you get free webinars. So you don't have to pay the $15 or whatever it is.
What does it cost to become a certified local
It
community?
doesn't cost anything except some of Kyle's time.
Yeah.
So,
Give me your list, I'll do your shopping.
well, I started on this, so I'm going to help him as much as I can. So I've got a couple little tasks. One thing we need is a resume from every single one of you. So please provide a resume. So if you can get that to me by next month,
Okay.
that would be great. And if you don't, I have samples once have been sent in, okay? And one of them was just, this lady said, I love old buildings, and I was in a fight to save one in our town. And the mayor asked me, if you're this passionate about it, would you want to be on the Historic Preservation Commission? And I said yes. And that was it.
Wow.
I mean, and then you have somebody else that was like a lawyer, and it was 4 pages of a CV that went on and on and on. So,
Where you were born and all that.
yeah, so anything in there, just basically who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. So,
Okay. Can it just be like just like a paragraph, or does it?
yeah, they can be
like
just a
bullet
paragraph,
point
or they can be bullet points,
Okay.
one or the other. Yeah, so one thing I noticed on some of the sample ones was that if you live in a historic home and or historic district, it was good to note that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that would be really, really helpful.
We want to see that on yours.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that would get us started, because a lot of this, I
A lot
have
of it
sample
we've-
letters and stuff that I can send to you that you can send on, but we can't get the mayor to sign it until we know who the mayor is. So,
Trying to find out in 2 weeks.
yeah, it's getting close.
It'll be interesting. I know. How many hours?
What is it, 2 weeks tomorrow?
Yeah, 2 weeks tomorrow.
And they have voting places all over. My daughter works at Alice Carwick, and she came out of work and they had one set up there.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
the mobile van, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
she
wow.
went and was able to vote and get in her car and go home.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And early voting is very simple.
Oh.
Here on 8th and Walnut.
Yeah, but they're only open till 4.
Till
So I
4.
gotta work on that.
but they're on weekends also.
Starting this weekend.
This weekend only, yeah, because I went last Saturday and they were closed.
Okay,
Yeah.
This weekend and then the 3rd.
okay. What's hours?
They're
8:30
till
to 3
8
on
to,
Saturday.
8:30, 30, okay.
On Saturday.
yeah, 8 to 4 during the week. Okay, we've got homework.
Yes.
Yeah, homework. We have no public comment.
I have a couple of things actually.
Well, you're next,
Okay.
so this will be you.
All right. So I'm also a member of on the commission, the Michigan City Urban Enterprise Association, which is all of these historic districts are within the urban enterprise zone. So that anybody, either whether it's a residence or a business, can apply for a grant for improvement of their property. And so I just thought maybe there's a way we should get that information on the Historic Preservation Commission's website so that they can be linked together.
When you say business, or do you mean, I mean, they have to own the buildings, correct? Or
Yes.
not? Okay.
Yes.
Because most of the businesses don't own the buildings.
Yes.
It's- Yeah,
Right,
so it
right.
doesn't
Yes.
affect
And then
us.
same for the residents, it has to be
Owner.
applied for by the owner of the
Okay.
building. And there are requirements, you have to meet like an income level not to exceed a certain amount. Yeah, and you have to occupy the residence as well. So, but I just thought that's another way of, for a residence, you could get up to $5,000, of your
It could be really
project
helpful.
Yeah.
covered. So that could help a number of people on any number of projects.
Nice.
So is there some way we could get that linked into?
Yeah, if you just
website?
send me an email with
Sure.
that PDF,
Yep.
then I can get that included.
And then my other item is, I'm also a supporter of an organization out of Indianapolis called Carbon Neutral Indiana. And Gigi has heard me speak about this before. And the executive director, a gentleman by the name of Daniel Pointer, is in Indianapolis. He has written a small how-to guide to encourage individuals and businesses to work toward carbon neutrality in your own lifestyle. So I bought a bunch of the books and I'm gifting them to different groups like this, just as a way of promoting the movement to get everybody to be as carbon neutral as possible. So I'm gonna pass those out for everybody.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Larry's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
I think, Kyle, you do not have one.
I do not, surprisingly. Thank you.
Deb?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Gigi already had one.
You know what, I would take another one, because
Okay.
I'd like to give another friend.
I only have one that's on loan from someone, so
Yeah, he's gonna need one as well.
yeah.
You were wonderful to have.
Yeah, thank
Well,
Yes.
that's good.
It's a really an easy read, and there's lots of resources in there, and it's very inspirational. So
Cool, wow,
hopefully you can use that as motivation.
that's great.
I'd also like us to always be cognizant of that too when we're talking about houses that are being historically, restored, and we keep encouraging people to do energy upgrades, obviously windows, but insulation in the walls and anything they can do to lower their carbon footprint.
Well, especially when there may be some tax credits and
Absolutely.
some side benefits for people to do things like that.
Right, correct. Thank you, Joyce.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. We were just talking about this in church yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yes.
Yes.
I did not know, but one of my friends said my neighbor got a thing on her garbage, on her recycle, that she's going to be fined if she puts one more plastic bag in her recycle. You're not supposed to put the plastic bags you get from the grocery store or
Yeah.
Menards or wherever. They are not supposed to go in your recycle. You're supposed to throw them away
Store.
or take them to the store. and she said a lot of stores won't take them back anymore because nobody wants to.
I wish everybody stopped.
The city of Chicago
Yeah.
started charging people
Yeah.
for taking a bag when they're in the grocery store. It's 8 cents or something like that.
How much?
But it was enough to make people realize, oh my God, all I have to do is bring a little
Bring a bag.
bag of my own
Yeah.
into the store, and then I don't have to pay an additional 8
It's
cents.
kind of like Aldi, if you go there, you better bring your own bag.
Yeah.
Or like just the opposite, Whole Foods would give you like a 5 or 10 cent credit off your bill for every bag of your own that you
Yeah.
bring.
Yeah.
So
when you
I
go
think
there,
we should be doing more of that for
Oh,
sure.
Right.
You didn't see my bag?
Yes, I did.
My
He
kitchen
does take his
garbage
own.
can is small enough that the bags that you get from Al's, the plastic bags, fit in it. So I don't buy plastic bags, I just reuse the
Yes.
ones I get
Right.
in my garbage.
And
And that would be another thing, because a lot of people go out and buy
Oh,
a plastic bag to line their garbage
Right.
can with. And
Right.
yet they're throwing away the one that they got from the grocery store.
Right.
It's
well, if you've got a little garbage can, you're okay, but if you've got a little bit bigger one, you
Well, it just means you have to carry it out to the trash more often.
might be down in there. though.
But you know, Myers takes bags. They have 3 huge bins in the lobby.
Right, and
Walmart
Al's
does
used to
too.
too. I don't know if
Yeah.
they still,
Walmart does.
does Walmart?
Yeah.
Where do you put them at Walmart?
It's towards the entrance.
The
It's
main
like,
entrance?
yeah, it's past where the shopping carts are. You gotta go over them.
Yeah. I think there's one at every Walmart, unless you're in the
It's
state
kind
of
of where the
Alabama.
it's where the greeter. It's where the greeter.
Alabama does not recycle anything.
Oh, okay.
I know.
I get annoyed when they,
I
anyway,
know.
I know. But anyway, I was surprised that the city is doing that. The recycle is doing it, it's not really the
And
city.
it's not the
Is that the
must
solid
be
waste district is doing it?
overwhelming
Whoever
to
does
the
our
point
Yeah.
where they have to put that note
But it
because
also makes it that much more obvious that this is a huge
Yeah.
problem.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't think about it. When you think about carbon, do you think about plastic bag? You probably do because you're on the committee.
Well, you should, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but most-
they're made from petroleum.
But most people don't think of it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, very good, thank you.
Plus, I mean, I think those plastic bags are just awkward to carry. I see people walking out with a shopping cart full of little plastic bags and you can't grab them right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hurt your
Or they
fingers.
tear when you go to,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Larry.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Maybe cool.
Anyone else have a comment want to make, or?
Do we have time for education or
I think so.
Yeah.
What time are we at?
Yeah, we're good.
I think we're going to have a brief moment of
We're
education?
gonna have a moment of education.
Or a couple minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to, Kyle and I came up with a list last December.
We did.
I think we've done one off of the list of possible education topics. So since we had a pretty light agenda, we thought we'd go after it again, pick up where we left off. So one of our thoughts was to talk about the Secretary of the Interior standards, which is what our guidelines are based on, and they need to be, that's required by the ordinance that you have here as well as in the state of Indiana. So the National Park Service, once upon a time, decided that there's 4 approaches to preservation, which are preservation, rehabilitation, restoration, and reconstruction. So most of the COAs that you see are involving rehabilitation. We don't see a lot of the others. Preservation is just pretty much keeping a building the way it is at the moment, whether it's been altered or whatever, but it's, additions to it, whatever, are kept. So we're going to preserve it the way it looks right now. Rehabilitation, you might want to add on to a building, maybe for a new use or something like that. You want to alter it. That's, like I said, what we see the most. Restoration is when you're going to pick a certain period for a building and you're going to restore it to that period. So, maybe there was a downtown building that was first a commercial building, and then it became a theater. And then it was closed down and converted to something else. And you look at all the things it's been during its lifetime and you decide it was most significant when it was a theater. So we're gonna go back to that theater period. A lot of times you see that happen for house museums. They take them to a certain period and they make it very, very authentic to that period. And then reconstruction is what happens if you've got a building that's just gone and you decide to rebuild off those original plans. Don't see that real often. So preservation, this would be an instance of preservation. This hotel is still mostly there, but the porch has been changed and they've decided this is the way they want it to look going forward. So they continue to maintain it in that fashion. They haven't taken it back there. They're preserving it right there. So this is, retaining it as it exists. Original materials and later additions will be preserved, and the goal is to retain the existing form. So you're going to maintain the materials that are there, the features that are there, and protect it going forward. So you want to do it when their materials and features are basically intact. So in the instance of that last building there on the screen, it had a slate roof. That's really important. So they're going to keep that going forward, no matter what. And in fact, they have replaced some of it at great cost. So they feel that's worth it. And they didn't want to be frozen in time at any particular place. So that's why they went that way. If you're going to do an addition, preservation's not going to work. So that is preservation. There's another case where they picked a time period. This is a building that obviously that's not the original storefront with that divided glass like that, but they're in the process of rehabbing it right now, and they've decided it's been that way since, I don't know, the 1920s or something like that. Even though it's not original to the building, they're going to keep it right where it is. That's going to be barbershop, which is cool. And he got his little barber pole just the other day. He's so excited. That's incredible. So the materials that you're looking at, if this is the goal, preservation, we're talking about very limited replacement in kind. Here we're going to try and preserve as many of the things that are on the building as we can. Very limited replacement, and mostly things that the guidelines call for already. Retaining the existing materials, repainting with colors that are appropriate, repairing, retaining the historic windows. So things that the guidelines already call for. So this is rehabilitation. Now this is if you want to add an addition, you want to make changes to the building. Not dramatically, but maybe this is a little more forgiving on materials. Not much, but a little. This house has a major addition on the back, but it was put on very sensitively, so you cannot see it from the front. You'll be very surprised when you see the addition. So there's that. The last one was the before they got started. That was what it looked like. This is how it looks now, and there is an addition behind that house.
That's beautiful.
And this in front is an Indian mound. It's not their mound system. So the septic, it actually is an Indian mound, so they couldn't do anything forward at all, which is pretty cool. There's the addition.
Oh my gosh.
That hides behind the Greek revival.
Wow.
That is probably the oldest structure in Indiana. It dates to 17 something or other. It was out on the East Coast and was disassembled and shipped here by semi and reassembled on site. So it's old, it's just not original to Indiana.
Where is this at?
Walkerville, south of LaGrange.
Wow. Nice.
So we were stunned. We were not real excited about the orange color, but it's behind the house. So
What about the metal roof?
You'd never believe it.
that he added that. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. It didn't. It did have a metal roof out east.
Oh, it did?
It did,
Oh.
But the
not
metal roofs
that.
were different then. They were,
It was probably copper or something.
flat
Yeah,
sheets.
Or lead.
that didn't survive.
Oh, no.
But you got the meter head go on the front.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the back though. Oh no.
There you go.
Oh, okay, so that's the side view.
So
Wow.
they snuck that connector link in there,
How interesting.
and the two connect. So it's just I still stand in front of that and I'm amazed that there is a building behind it, but there is, so.
Yeah, and they're like, looks like the addition's bigger than the.
It does, but it hides behind that. It is
Wow.
an excellent job of.
So is that why they were allowed to do it?
Yeah.
Because it's not visible?
Totally not visible
Huh.
from the front. Did
Okay.
not change the view from the front at all. And this is just grass. There's no street over here, so nobody ever sees this side anyway. So they only see the front and a very few people see the other side.
Wow.
So pretty amazing. So the big thing about rehabilitation, it's making the property useful through additions or alterations, because sometimes older buildings just don't work well in modern life, so we need to figure out how to make it work. In this case, these people really wanted to have a bed and breakfast, and the original house was too small. And so they wanted more room, and that's why they found that other building and added it on.
So crazy.
So you choose that when you've got to repair things or when you want to make additions. You're not looking for a certain period of time, again. So here come the standards for rehabilitation, and this is something you hear about fairly frequently. They talk about the standards. There are standards for each one, for preservation, for restoration, rehabilitation, all that. But for whatever reason, these are the ones that you hear about the most. So they're looking at, number one, that the property will be used as it was historically or given a new use that causes minimal change to the building. The second one, the historic character of the property will be retained and preserved. So you're looking to keep those features that make it historic and are characteristic to that property. Number three, the property will be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or elements, will not be undertaken. So you're not creating a little, alpine village or whatever. It's always so strange. Number four, changes to a property that have acquired historic significance in their own right will be retained and preserved. Number five, distinctive materials and finishes or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a property will be preserved. Number six, the deteriorated features will be repaired rather than replaced. So that's what you guys deal with all the time. Where the deterioration is too much, then you're trying to match the original design, color, texture. And just last week, they came out with new revised guidelines for substitute materials. So this is really huge development. They do not do this very often, but looking at the fact that, new growth wood doesn't last like old growth does, and sometimes we just have to do something different. We can't say replacing kind because it's not going to last. So this is a 24-page document, but pretty exciting stuff. And they're looking at all kinds of modern materials in here. So
Not vinyl though?
what?
Not vinyl?
No.
Okay.
No.
They haven't gone that far?
No,
Okay.
no, they're looking at fiber cement. That's about as wild as they got in here. So, let's see. Archaeological resources have to be protected in place, as we just saw with the Indian mounds. Cleaning is by the gentlest means possible. We're discussing that now with the building there, Oriental Pearl and their brick samples on the wall. We've been looking at how they're cleaning those, so it needs to be a little more gentle than what we've done so far. New additions would not destroy historic materials. They need to be differentiated from the old, be compatible with the historic materials, even though the new materials could be modern materials. And new additions and new constructions need to be done in a manner so that in the future it could be removed and the original building would still be good. So reversibility is a big deal. But your guidelines address most all of that, as they should. So again, you're picking historical colors that are appropriate, repairing, not replacing. In this case, they do look at rooftop additions, green roofs, things like that that can go on a roof of a building, because again, we're talking additions are okay, but they need to be done so they're not hardly visible from the public way, so set back or screened in some fashion.
Solar panels would be a big,
Yes, yes. Then there's restoration. So this is the building that was a theater, and they decided to take it back to the period of significance. This is in Birmingham, Alabama, the Lyric Theater. And when they started on this one, they didn't even know where the theater was.
Wow.
Because inside they had put a concrete block wall across, and no one even knew that the theater was back behind that wall. And the exterior door had been closed off from the side. So they were using this whole space in the red brick on the first floor, but that under the lower portion is where the theater was. And nobody knew it was back there. They thought it had to be around there, but they thought it might have been destroyed too. They weren't really sure what had happened to that theater because the downtown was just in such bad state. And so some brave soul started knocking the wall down.
Cool.
And they found the theater. It was incredible. And they raised money and restored the interior.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Are they gonna put the cornice back, do you know?
I don't know about that. They did a tremendous amount of fundraising to get where they are, and there's another one right across the street, the Alabama Theater, and they completely rehabbed that one. So I think they're a little out of funds, but they might. They're very passionate about this. But it's also changing this whole area with these two buildings being restored. Now they're having all kinds of events in them, live concerts as well as films and pageants and things like that. So it's really revitalizing that area of downtown. So this is where you pick a period of history and you go to that period to restore it. So you remove the features from other periods and then you reconstruct the missing pieces. So in this case, they were reconstructing the front facade there. Limited upgrading, but they do allow that upgrading of mechanical systems because of course things have to work today and code required. And that really showed up in the theater itself. They had to remove a lot of seats to make it the spacing right in there. It was pretty crowded before. So you choose this when there was a certain period of time that was more important than others. You go back to that. And you need to have some good evidence too, obviously, physical or, paper documents. Maybe you've got the blueprints from when it was built, that sort of thing. And materials you're going to want to choose, again, paint colors that fit that period, not necessarily that were on that building, but from that period. If you can document them, that's great, though you should. Materials that are similar to the original, but again, it's more open to replacement materials, some substitutes if originals just aren't feasible to do. So you're going for the look and as much original material as you can, but there's a little more grace on this one. And then finally we have reconstruction. And I will say this building's the biggest disappointment I've ever been to. Because I didn't know it was a fake until I got there. I was so mad. Oh my goodness. But the original buildings were gone and they had all the drawings and so they rebuilt this Blennerhassett Island. It's between Ohio and West Virginia and the Ohio River. So it's all very modern, but it happens. It's just the way it is. Sometimes it's important.
What did you mean, that it was fake?
Well, it wasn't the original building.
Oh, it's all new?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's all completely new. Like it was way newer than the house I live in. So I was like, this is disappointing. I drove this far to see a new building.
Are the interiors a period as well?
They make it look that way,
Uh-huh. Okay.
So, and this as well, down here is one that was rebuilt, so. And sometimes it's just a matter of a building has to come down and be rebuilt because it's in such bad structural shape, it's not just because, oh, we think we should recreate a certain building. You know, it may be the only way to have it survive is to take it down and rebuild it, so that happens too. So the object is replicating to make it look like it did originally. So when there's no other property with that same value, then it's, you know, you might feel it's worthwhile. Now, in this case, obviously, you're going to use substitute materials because the original building isn't there, so you're not going to do that. Now, if you're taking a building down and rebuilding it, even like the addition to the house in Wokeville, you know, those are the original materials. They've got new windows in it, because windows didn't come with it, but they did use some. So if you can, that's great. But if you're starting from scratch, nothing survived, substitute materials can be used. They just need to have a historic appearance, and they need to be able to be very durable. So no vinyl. And again, you're reproducing colors that match as much as you can from that period and features that would have existed there. And trying to be really sensitive about putting in phone lines and electrical lines and stuff to keep it underground, out of sight, so we're looking as historic as we possibly can. And that's it. So.
Whoop, whoop. Interesting, thank you. We've got a lot, we have a lot on our brains tonight, don't we?
Don't forget your resumes.
That's what I was just freaking out about.
Next month.
Right, okay, when we, I'll send out a little reminder too to get a resume into Mr. Kyle.
Well, you want us to send it to Kyle? Or to Deb?
Do you want us to send it?
I'll collect and I'll send them on to him. Once
That's
I've
fine.
compiled a bunch of stuff, you're
Okay.
gonna get dumped on.
That's fine. I always dump it on you.
Can we
Take
email
your
it
time.
to you?
Next month?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're emailing to Deb.
Email it to me, because eventually we'll put all these documents together in one huge scan and send it off. So.
Okay, so
And what was your deadline again? When do you want them?
tomorrow.
No,
Not a problem.
Yeah,
it is a
easier than
problem
later,
next meeting.
yeah.
it's a problem for some of us.
By the next meeting.
Oh, by next meeting. Okay.
Yeah.
And the sooner the better. I'm
Yes.
sure she'd like
I will
that.
take them anytime. I've got a nice empty little file folder sitting in here. You'll start putting stuff. And it's
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get help with that one.
Just put your name and your name and that you have this little antique place and we've got all kinds of goodies in there. So there you go.
Okay, write a note.
Okay, anybody have any other questions or things that should come? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
All right, second,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we did good.